Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday morning. Just a quick update as far as the 49ers defensive coordinator position goes. They haven't had an interview in a while, which kind of leads you to believe that they're waiting for Robert Saleh. And since the 49ers spoke to Saleh on Thursday, Kyle Shanahan interviewed Saleh and Deshae Townsend on that day, one day after the season-ending press conference. Robert Saleh is in demand, at least for interviews for head coaching positions. When you think about, the top guys when it comes to this interviewing cycle for potential NFL head coaching vacancies, think about Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. Those guys aren't going anywhere potentially for a while, at least until, as long as the Detroit Lions remain in the playoff picture. Those two are probably the top candidates for head coaching jobs. And then Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick were considered the top guys. They are no longer available. Belichick with North Carolina. Vrabel gets hired by the New England Patriots. Pete Carroll is still out there, of course. And so Robert Saleh, even though not a real successful time with the New York Jets, um, he's out there in consideration for the Jaguars. He interviewed for that job on Tuesday. And, to me, that's kind of an attractive job. I would say the Jaguars job and the Bears job. And, probably the Cowboys job too, because it is the Cowboys. But when you think about the Jaguars, there are some pieces there, including a quarterback. I don't think the next coach coming in is going to be looking for a quarterback for Trent Baalke to find a quarterback. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. Of course, the Bears have their guy, Caleb Williams. So, when you think about a head coaching opportunity, that's probably the first thing that you look at when it comes to, does this give a team an opportunity to win? So Robert Saleh in contention for those jobs. And so I wouldn't expect anything to happen on the 49ers front until we have an idea of where Robert Saleh, or if Robert Saleh is indeed strong candidates for those openings. So right now, the two guys we know of, and maybe I'll check in later in the day, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been conducting interviews just about every day, including on Tuesday. They had an interview with a special teams coordinator candidate, and that is Chris Tabor. He's 53 years old. He did not coach in the NFL last season. However, previously he was with the Carolina Panthers, and he was the interim head coach after David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, fired Frank Reich. And so um, Ta Chris Tabor took over. That was, I don't know if there was the Athletic, did a story late in the 23 season about the Hunger Games mentality inside that building. And so I think Chris Tabor kind of got caught up in that, was out of coaching last year, but he did a good job as the Panthers special teams coordinator. That unit, special teams for the Panthers, led the NFL in field goal percentage, and they blocked 4 field goals. And in Rick Gosselin's ranking, by the way, Rick, a longtime sports writer who's kind of known around the nation as being the guy who would really um, analyze special teams. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. This is the first year he's not doing that, so he's retired. But um, the Panthers ranked fourth in Rick Gosselin's rankings, and it's kind of considered the definitive special teams rankings. And before Tabor got to the Panthers, they were 28th. So before he came to the Panthers, Chris Tabor was special teams coordinator of the Chicago Bears from 2018 to 2021. And before that, he was a longtime coordinator for the Cleveland Browns from 2011 to 2017. So obviously Kyle Shanahan knows Chris Tabor. And I think initially it was kind of considered Nick Sorensen's job if he wanted it. I don't know that that's the case anymore. The net that Kyle Shanahan has spread out there now to include Chris Tabor, someone with a lot of experience, that really opens up the possibility of getting an experienced special teams coordinator. And then, with all the weirdness and uncertainty with the Dallas Cowboys, is that something that um, the the 49ers would consider going after Bones Fossil, who's been the special teams coordinator there and one of the well-known, well-liked, most respected special teams coordinators out there. So as of right now, the special teams coordinator candidates: Chris Tabor, Nick Sorensen, Chris Banjo, and Jet Modkins. All those, I mean, we don't have word about Sorensen officially interviewing. So, um, as also going back to the defensive coordinator, we don't have word of officially Brandon Staley interviewing for that job, but he was somebody that Kyle Shanahan said would be a candidate from within the staff. As far as the offensive coordinator, two people have interviewed for that job: Noah Pauley from Iowa State, and of course, Clay Kubiak. That's going to be Clay Kubiak's job. I think 49ers still have to interview another minority external candidate in order to satisfy the Rooney rule. Okay, so that's kind of the coaching roundup here. One thing, also kind of a notable thing that I mentioned over the weekend: Fred Warner was on ESPN NFL Countdown, and it's very clear that the moment Fred Warner gets out of the NFL as a player, he will either go straight to the studio as an NFL analyst or maybe as some sort of announcer, um, analyst in game broadcast, because he got rave reviews from his appearance on ESPN. Richard Deitch of The Athletic quoted ESPN Vice President and Executive Producer Seth Markham as saying that he thought Warner did very well. The quote was, "Honestly, as good as I've seen from a current player in a long time, especially at his age. He has a bright future in the business down the road." And, hearing Warner talk about Brock Purdy and delivering an anecdote about what it was like to practice against him when the 49ers had that really good defense in 2022. And Purdy in practice would carve up the 49ers' number one defense. And Warner said that he would give Brock Purdy an earful and Purdy would give it right back to him. So Markham from ESPN also relayed to Richard Deitch that Teddy Bruschi, who's on that NFL Countdown show, texted him after the show was over and said that that guy can take my seat. And so, yeah, again, 49er fans, don't panic. I think Fred Warner has a very long playing career ahead of him. That career right now is all on a Hall of Fame track, but it certainly seems possible that Fred Warner, once he leaves the playing field, won't be disappearing, that he'll be in front of your eyes for a long time. So I know he has the podcast with his wife, Sydney, which I think needs to become part of my ritual. I haven't listened to it as much as I should, so I'm going to get on that right now. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, leave a comment, and that is it for now.